My family carved this ranch back in 1962, in the wild heart of Texas, where my wildflower meadow sways free under open skies. It's my sanctuary until Monica Reynolds, the HOA Karen of Willow Creek, stormed in, ruler in hand, measuring my grass like it was her personal kingdom. She called the cops on my own land, claiming my rusty truck was a neighborhood disgrace. She didn't know I'm a federal judge with a deed older than her HOA and evidence to burn her empire of fraud, vandalism, and lies to the ground. Before we dive in, hit that like button to support Gossip Kier. Thanks for being awesome. It was a crisp January morning in the Texas countryside. The kind of morning where the air smells like freedom, and the only sound is the hum of your old truck on a dirt road. Evan Harper, 47 years old, was driving his beat-up 1994 Ford pickup toward his ranch. Coffee steamed in the cup holder. Country music played softly on the radio. His plan? A quiet weekend fixing up the barn. Simple, peaceful. Exactly what he needed after a week of courtroom battles. But as he turned onto the road leading to his gate, he saw something odd. There she was, Monica Reynolds, the HOA president of the nearby Willow Creek subdivision, kneeling by his gate, with a ruler. Yes, a ruler, measuring his grass, blade by blade. Her perfectly pressed blazer and manicured nails looked out of place against the wildflowers Evan had spent years cultivating. He rolled down his window, keeping his voice calm. "Morning, Monica." "What's going on?" She snapped upright, clutching the ruler like a sword. "Don't you morning me, Evan Harper." Her voice was sharp enough to cut glass. "This grass? It's 3.5 inches tall. Willow Creek regulations state 2 inches maximum. This is an eyesore." Her face flushed red, matching her lipstick. Evan took a slow sip of his coffee. Let the silence stretch. He'd dealt with Monica before. Her HOA had been trying to bully him for years, even though his ranch predated their subdivision by decades. "Monica," he said, steady as a rock, "my ranch isn't part of your paw. Never has been. Never will be." Her eyes narrowed. "That's what you say. But this mess affects our property values. Look at this." She gestured wildly at his Gattarusty. "Sure, but sturdy. And that truck? It's a disgrace. Leaking oil, rusting away, parked like some junkyard relic." She pulled out her phone, typing furiously. "I'm posting this to the neighborhood group chat. People need to know what kind of neighbor you are." Evan stepped out of his truck, boots crunching on gravel. At 47, he learned patience was a weapon. "Monica, I need to get to my ranch. Step aside." His voice was calm, but there was steel in it. She planted herself in front of the gate, arms crossed. "Not until you agree to comply with our standards. This affects all of us." And then, she did it. She dialed 911. "Yes, hello? I need to report a suspicious person trying to enter a property. He's being aggressive. Refusing to leave. Yes, he's driving an old, beat-up truck. I think he might be dangerous." She smirked at Evan as she gave the address. He stood there, arms crossed, watching this absurdity unfold. Within 10 minutes, a sheriff's deputy pulled up. Deputy Ryan Foster. Evan knew him from the handful of times Monica had called the cops on other neighbors. Ryan stepped out of his patrol car, already looking tired. "Ma'am, sir, what's the problem?" Monica launched into a tirade. "This man is a menace. His grass is too tall. His truck is an eyesore. He's lowering our property values and refusing to comply with HOA standards." She waved her ruler for emphasis. Evan waited until she paused for breath. "Deputy Foster," he said, "I'm trying to access my ranch. Miss Reynolds is blocking my gate." Ryan glanced between them. Recognition flickered in his eyes. "Your ranch, sir? I'll need to see some ID." Evan handed over his driver's license. Ryan's eyebrows twitched when he saw the name. "Judge Harper," he said, professional but with a hint of respect. "Apologies for the inconvenience." He turned to Monica. "Ma'am, this gentleman owns this property. You need to step aside." Monica's jaw dropped. "Judge? That's impossible. Look at him. Look at that truck. But she moved, still muttering under her breath. This isn't over, Harper. The HOA has ways of dealing with people like you. Evan opened his gate, drove through. But the morning was ruined. He couldn't focus on the barn. His mind churned. 20 minutes of his life, wasted, treated like a criminal on his own land. And then, his phone buzzed. An email from Monica, sent to what seemed like every resident in Willow Creek. The subject? Urgent. Neighborhood menace alert. Attached were photos of his gate, his truck, his grass, with captions like, refuses to maintain property and threat to our community standards. His license plate was clearly visible. An hour later, a nervous teenager knocked on his door, handed him a certified letter. Evan opened it. An official-looking HOA violation notice. A $300 fine for failure to maintain property standards and creating a public disturbance. He crumpled the letter, jaw tight. Through his ranch house window, he could see the pristine roofs of Willow Creek. Monica's oversized McMansion stood out, gleaming in the sun. She wanted to play games, mess with his peace, his property, his reputation. Evan walked to his desk, pulled out a legal pad. At the top, he wrote, Reynolds v. Harper, evidence log. Then he picked up his phone, dialed his legal assistant, Brandon Carter. Brandon, it's Evan. Clear your Monday schedule. We've got work to do. He smoothed out the crumpled fine notice. Evidence item number 1. His eyes blazed as he stared out at his land. His sanctuary. The place he'd worked decades to afford. You want to fight, Monica? He said to the empty room. I'm just getting started. Monday morning hit like a Texas thunderstorm. Evan was barely through his first coffee when Brandon called. Boss, you need to see this. Monica's called an emergency HOA meeting for tonight. Agenda? Addressing adjacent property concerns. She's making you the main event. Evan set down his mug. Let me guess. I'm the star of her show. Brandon's laugh was grim. Oh, it's worse. She's proposing a resolution to extend HOA authority to properties affecting community standards. She's trying to annex your ranch. That evening, Evan walked into the Willow Creek Community Center. Saturday in the back row. The room was packed. 60 residents, most looking annoyed at being dragged out on a Monday night. Monica stood at the podium. PowerPoint ready. Thank you all for coming, she began, her voice dripping with fake concern. We face a threat to everything we've built here in Willow Creek. Click. A photo of Evan's ranch gate flashed on the screen. Several people turned to look at him. This eyesore, Monica continued, sits at our entrance. Visitors see this before our beautiful homes. The owner refuses to paint the gate, update the fencing, or even mow his lawn to basic standards. His 1,994 truck, constantly parked there, leaking oil, sending the wrong message about our community. Susan Carter, Evan's nearest neighbor, raised her hand. Monica, isn't that property outside HOA jurisdiction? Monica's smile was sharp. Currently, yes. But I propose we extend our covenant to include adjacent properties that impact our image. It's for everyone's benefit. Click. A mock-up of Evan's gate, painted white with decorative ironwork. Imagine how beautiful this could be. The meeting dragged on. 2 hours of Monica's vision for community standards. When it ended with no resolution, residents questioned the legality of her plan. Evan thought it might be over. But Tuesday brought a new surprise. He woke to find a letter shoved under his ranch house door. No signature, but the HOA letterhead was unmistakable. Dear Mr. Harper, it read, your refusal to maintain community standards is noted. Consider this a warning. Things can become uncomfortable for those who don't fit in. Paint the gate, fix the fence, get a decent vehicle, or face consequences. Evan showed the letter to Brandon that afternoon. Brandon frowned. This is technically a criminal threat, but proving Monica sent it, we need more evidence. That's when Susan Carter knocked on Evan's door. She looked nervous. Judge Harper, I'm sorry to bother you, but you need to know something. Monica's been spreading rumors, saying you're difficult, antisocial. She even hinted you might be up to something shady, all because of your truck and your grass. Evan offered her a seat. Susan, has Monica ever targeted you? Her laugh was bitter. Last spring, she fined me $200 because my roses were the wrong shade of pink. Said they clashed with the neighborhood aesthetic. When I protested, she made my life hell. Constant inspections. Nasty emails. Told other neighbors I was trouble. Did you keep any documentation? Evan asked. Susan nodded. Everything. I'm terrified of her. Judge Harper. We all are. But what she's doing to you? Maybe it's time someone stood up to her. Wednesday morning brought the next escalation. Evan arrived at his ranch to find a landscaping crew mowing his field. His field? On his property. He jogged toward them. Excuse me? What are you doing here? The crew chief looked confused. We got a work order from the HOA. Said the owner approved it. He showed Evan the paperwork. Monica's signature, bold and unmistakable. This is trespassing, Evan said firmly. Leave. Now. They packed up, but the damage was done. Half his wildflower meadow years of careful cultivation shorn down to suburban lawn height. Thursday's mail brought a $500 bill from the landscaping company, forwarded by the HOA. A sticky note attached. Payment due immediately. Future unauthorized maintenance will incur additional charges. That afternoon, Brandon made a breakthrough. Evan, I've been digging through old HOA records. Public documents from their incorporation. Look at this. He showed Evan a signature on a 2018 financial document. Edith Ramsey, treasurer. Then another document from 2022. Same signature. Same position. Here's the thing. I found Edith Ramsey's obituary. She died in 2019. Evan stared at the documents. Pieces clicking into place. Someone's been forging a dead woman's signature for 3 years. Brandon nodded. And guess who became president right after Edith's death? Monica Reynolds. Evan leaned back in his chair, looked out at his ranch, the sun setting over his wild fields. She's not just harassing me, Brandon. She's running a scam, and we're going to take her down. The sun was barely up that Friday morning when Evan Harper stood on his porch, coffee mug in hand. His wildflower meadow, half ruined by Monica's trespassing landscapers, swayed gently in the breeze. He wasn't angry anymore. No, he was focused. 30 years as a federal judge had taught him one thing. Evidence wins wars. And Monica? She just handed him a battlefield full of ammunition. That forged signature of Edith Ramsey, the dead HOA treasurer? It was the first crack in Monica's empire. But Evan needed more. He needed proof that would bury her. He called Brandon Carter, his legal assistant. Brandon, we need to move fast. Monica's escalating. That landscaping stunt? It's not a one-off. She's got a system. We need to find it. Brandon's voice crackled with excitement. Already on it, boss. I've got a contact at the county records office. They're pulling every HOA document filed since Monica took over in 2019. If she's forging signatures, it's not just Edith Ramsey. And those landscaping bills? I'm betting they tie to someone close to her. Evan nodded, staring at his rusty gate. Good. And I'm installing cameras around the ranch. If Monica sends anyone else, we'll catch them. Red-handed. By noon, Evan had 3 discrete security cameras set up. One at the gate, one overlooking the meadow, and one hidden in the old oak tree by the driveway. He wasn't taking chances. Monica had already proven she'd crossed lines literal and legal. As he tested the camera feeds on his laptop, his phone buzzed. Another email from Monica, sent to the entire Willow Creek mailing list. The subject? Urgent. Property standards crisis. The email was a masterpiece of passive-aggressive venom. Dear neighbors. It read, our community's image is under threat from certain adjacent properties. Unmaintained lawns, rusted vehicles, and a blatant disregard for our values. I've scheduled a second emergency HOA meeting for Sunday. We must act to protect our home values. Attached was a photo of Evan's truck, captioned, this is what visitors see first. Evan chuckled. Monica was predictable. She thought public shaming would break him. But every email, every photo, was another piece of evidence. He forwarded it to Brandon. Add this to the log. She's building our case for us. Saturday brought a new twist. Evan was at the ranch repairing a fence post when Susan Carter, his neighbor, pulled up in her SUV. She looked rattled. "Judge Harper, I need to talk to you. It's about Monica." She clutched a folder, hands trembling. "After our talk, I went through my old emails. Found these." She handed him a stack of printed messages. Threats from Monica, fines for non-compliant roses, emails warning Susan to fall in line or face community consequences. Evan skimmed the pages. One email stood out. "Susan," Monica had written, "your refusal to replace those garish flowers is noted. Don't be surprised if your property faces inspections. We have ways of ensuring compliance." The tone was chilling. Evan looked up. "Susan, this is harassment. Why didn't you report it?" Her eyes dropped. "I was scared. She's got everyone under her thumb. Last year, she fined the Millers $400 because their kids drew chalk art on their driveway. They fought back, and suddenly their mailbox was vandalized. Everyone knew it was Monica's doing, but no one could prove it." Evan's jaw tightened. "She's not just targeting me. She's terrorizing the whole neighborhood." He took the folder. "Can I keep these? They're evidence." Susan nodded. "Please, do something. We're all afraid of her." That afternoon, Evan met Brandon at a diner in town. Brandon slid a thick stack of documents across the table. County records came through. "Look at this." He pointed to a 2020 HOA financial report. Edith Ramsey's signature, dated 6 months after her death. Then another, 2021, and another, 2022. "But it's not just Edith," Brandon said. "I found 2 other signatures that don't add up. Former board members who moved away years ago. Their names keep popping up on payments to a company called Green Vista Landscaping." Evan flipped through the pages. "Green Vista, that's the crew that mowed my meadow." "Who owns it?" Brandon grinned. "That's the kicker. Green Vista is registered to Monica's cousin, Derek Reynolds. They've been paid $52,000 over 3 years for community maintenance. But when I cross-checked the invoices, half the listed projects never happened. Fake tree plantings, phantom sidewalk repairs. It's a money funnel." Evan leaned back, processing. "She's using HOA funds to pay her cousin for fake work, forging signatures to cover it. That's embezzlement. Fraud. Maybe worse." Brandon nodded. "And your meadow? That wasn't just harassment. It was a test. She's seeing how far she can push before you break." Evan's eyes narrowed. "She's about to find out I don't break." Sunday's HOA meeting was a circus. The community center was packed again, residents murmuring as Monica took the podium. She'd upgraded her PowerPoint, now with a slideshow of Evan's ranch. "This property," she declared, "is a blight on Willow Creek. We cannot allow one man's negligence to ruin our community." She clicked to a mock-up of Evan's gate, painted in garish yellow. The crowd gasped, some laughed. Monica mistook it for support. "This is what we could have, if Mr. Harper would comply." Evan sat in the back, silent, watching. Susan Carter raised her hand again. "Monica, you keep saying this affects property values. But where's the proof? And why are we paying thousands for landscaping projects we never see?" Monica's smile faltered. "Susan, our financials are public. Everything is above board." A man in the front row, Tom Miller, stood up. "Then why did I get a $400 fine for my kids' chalk drawings? And why did my mailbox get smashed the week I complained about it?" The room buzzed. Monica gripped the podium. "This meeting is about Mr. Harper's property, not petty grievances." But the dam was cracking. Another resident, an older woman named Patricia, spoke up. "Monica, you fined me $150 because my garden gnome was too tall. You said it was 3 inches over regulation. I measured it. It wasn't. When I argued, you sent inspectors to my house every week for a month." Evan felt the shift. Monica was losing control. He stood, voice calm but carrying. "Miss Reynolds, since you're so concerned about transparency, can you explain why Edith Ramsey's signature is on HOA documents dated 3 years after her death?" The room went silent. Monica's face paled. That's absurd. You're trying to sabotage me. Evan held up a folder. I have copies of those documents. Public records. Edith Ramsey died in 2019. Yet she's approving payments to Green Vista Landscaping, a company owned by your cousin. Care to explain? Whispers erupted. Monica sputtered. This is a witch hunt. I've worked tirelessly for this community. Susan stood, emboldened. You fined me for my roses, Monica. Threatened me. I have the emails. She held up her phone. Should I read them? Monica's eyes darted to the exit. This meeting is adjourned. She stormed out, leaving her PowerPoint frozen on the yellow gate mock-up. Residents stayed, talking, comparing stories. Evan didn't say another word. He didn't need to. The seed was planted. Monday morning, Evan woke to a new outrage. His ranch gate was covered in neon green spray paint. Get out, it read. He checked his cameras. The footage was crystal clear. A man in a hoodie, 2 hours a.m., spray can in hand. And there, in the background, Monica's BMW idling on the road. Evan saved the video, multiple copies. Called Brandon. We've got her. Vandalism. Caught on tape. Brandon was already digging. Evan, I traced Green Vista's payments. Found a bank account linked to Monica herself. Small deposits, disguised as consulting fees. She's been skimming off the top. And those forged signatures? They're on every major HOA contract since 2019. Evan stared at the spray-painted gate. She's desperate. Making mistakes. We need to talk to the sheriff. File a vandalism report. And get these financials to the county prosecutor. That afternoon, Evan met Deputy Ryan Foster at the ranch. Ryan watched the camera footage, shaking his head. That's Monica's car, all right. I've dealt with her nonsense for years. Grass complaints. Flower color disputes. She's a one-woman noise machine. He took a statement, promised to investigate. As Ryan left, Susan Carter called Evan. Her voice was shaky. Judge Harper, Monica came to my house this morning. Said if I keep siding with you, she'll make sure my property taxes get audited. She's unhinged. Evan's grip tightened on the phone. Susan, record every interaction with her. Save every email. She's digging her own grave. Tuesday brought another escalation. Evan arrived at the ranch to find a city inspector, Carl Morrison, walking his property line. Judge Harper, Carl said, looking uncomfortable, get a complaint about your land. Grass height, fence condition, possible environmental violations. Evan handed him a folder. Before you start, look at this. The complaint's signed by Edith Ramsey. She's been dead 3 years. Carl's eyebrows shot up. He compared the signature to the death certificate. This is irregular. I'll report it to the city attorney. He walked the property, found no violations. You're clear, Judge. But whoever filed this, they're in trouble. Evan nodded. I've got a pretty good guess who. Of lung. That evening, Brandon uncovered the final nail in Monica's coffin. Evan, I found an email chain. Monica accidentally CC'd a board member on a message to Green Vista. She's instructing her cousin to backdate invoices and use Edith's signature stamp. It's dated last week. She's still forging documents. Evan sat back, staring at his evidence pile. Camera footage of vandalism. Forged signatures, fake invoices, threatening emails. Monica's empire was crumbling, and she didn't even know it. He looked out at his ranch, the wild grass still standing tall. She thought she could control me, he said quietly. But she picked the wrong fight. Evan Harper stood on his ranch porch, coffee mug warm in his hands, watching the Texas sunrise paint his wild fields gold. The neon green, get out, graffiti on his gate was gone, scrubbed clean, but the memory burned. Monica Reynolds had crossed a line. Vandalism caught on camera, her BMW idling in the shadows. That footage, combined with forged signatures, fake invoices, and threatening emails, was a ticking time bomb. Evan wasn't just fighting for his ranch anymore. He was fighting for every neighbor Monica had terrorized. And he was done playing defense. He called Brandon Carter, his legal assistant, as the first rays hit his rusty truck. Brandon, we've got enough to bury Monica. The vandalism video, the forged signatures, the email she accidentally sent. It's time to take this to the authorities. Set up a meeting with the county prosecutor today. Brandon's voice was electric. Way ahead of you, boss. I've already got a file ready. And I found something else. Monica's been using HOA funds to pay for personal expenses. Receipts for a community event. That was actually her daughter's birthday party at a 5-star hotel. $8,000, signed by Edith Ramsey, 2 years after she died. Evan's eyes narrowed. She's not just embezzling. She's sloppy. Keep digging. If she's this careless, there's more. By mid-morning, Evan and Brandon sat in the county prosecutor's office. Sarah Nguyen, a sharp-eyed attorney with a reputation for dismantling fraud, flipped through their evidence. The vandalism footage played on her laptop, Monica's car unmistakable. Sarah paused the video. This alone is enough for a criminal mischief charge. But these financials, she tapped the forged signatures. Wire fraud, embezzlement, forgery. And the email instructing her cousin to backdate invoices? That's conspiracy. Judge Harper, you've built a case most prosecutors dream of. Evan leaned forward. I want this airtight. Monica's been terrorizing Willow Creek for years, finding people for roses, chalk drawings, garden gnomes. She's created a culture of fear. It ends now. Sarah nodded. We'll start with a formal investigation. I'll need statements from other residents. Anyone willing to testify about her harassment? Can you get that? Evan thought of Susan Carter, Tom Miller, Patricia. I'll get you a list. They're ready to talk. End. Back at the ranch, Evan found a new surprise. A handwritten note taped to his gate. No signature, but the HOA letterhead was familiar. Mr. Harper, it read. Your interference is making things difficult. Stop now, or your precious meadow won't be the only thing that suffers. The threat was vague, but the intent was clear. Evan slipped the note into a plastic bag, evidence item number 12. He checked his cameras. Nothing yet, but he wasn't taking chances. He called Susan Carter. Susan, Monica's getting desperate. She left a threatening note on my gate. Has she contacted you again? Susan's voice trembled. Yes, this morning. She knocked on my door, said if I testify against her, she'll make sure my business license gets flagged. I run a small bakery, Judge Harper. I can't afford an audit. Evan's jaw tightened. Record everything. If she shows up again, call me. And Susan, you're not alone. We're ending this. End. That afternoon, Evan met with Tom Miller and Patricia at a coffee shop. Tom, a burly mechanic, clutched a stack of HOA fines. She charged us $200 because our dog barked during a Zoom meeting. Said it was a public disturbance. When we refused to pay, she sent inspectors to our garage, claimed we were running an illegal business. It's just my home workshop. Patricia, a retired teacher, nodded. She fined me for that gnome, then sent a letter saying my curtains were the wrong shade of blue. I ignored it, and my car tires were slashed 2 days later. No proof it was Monica, but I know it was her. Evan took their documents. I'm meeting with the prosecutor. If you're willing to share these, it'll help. She can't hurt you anymore. Not with what we've got. Tom hesitated, then pushed the papers forward. I'm in. My kids deserve better than living in fear of her. Patricia agreed. Do it. I'm tired of her ruling this neighborhood like a dictator. Wednesday morning, Evan arrived at the ranch to find another landscaping crew. Different company, same story. HOA work order, the foreman said, showing a form with Monica's signature. Evan pointed to his cameras. You're on private property. Leave now, or I'm calling the sheriff. They left, but not before mowing a strip of his wildflowers. Evan saved the footage, another nail in Monica's coffin. He called Brandon. She's doubling down. Send another crew. We need to check if these companies are linked to her cousin too. Brandon was already on it. Got a hit. This new crew? Subcontracted through Green Vista. Monica's funneling money through multiple fronts. I also found complaints filed with the old HOA board before Monica took over. Residents reported her for harassment, but those records vanished after she became president. Evan paced his porch. She's been covering her tracks for years. But she's slipping. That email, the vandalism, she's desperate. Thursday brought a bombshell. Brandon burst into Evan's office, laptop in hand. Evan, you won't believe this. I hacked into the HOA's cloud storage. Well, not hacked. They used Willow Creek 123 as their password. Look at this. He opened a folder labeled Private. Dozens of files. Forged contracts, fake invoices, even scanned copies of Edith Ramsey's signature stamp. In one file, a spreadsheet titled Special Assessments. It listed residents' names, with fines and extra fees, totaling $75,000 over 4 years. None of it reported in official HOA budgets. Evan stared at the screen. She's been fleecing the neighborhood, using fake fines to fund her lifestyle. Brandon nodded. And check this. The spreadsheet has a column labeled Disbursements. Payments to Monica's personal PayPal, disguised as consulting. She's been doing this since she took over. Evan printed the files. This goes to Sarah and Wynn. Today, Monica's done. At the prosecutor's office, Sarah's eyes widened as she reviewed the spreadsheet. This is staggering. She's been running a criminal enterprise under the guise of an HOA. With this, we can charge her with racketeering. That's federal. Judge Harper, you've just handed me a career case. Evan stayed calm. I don't care about headlines. I want her stopped. For good. Sarah leaned forward. We're issuing a subpoena for Monica's financial records. And we'll need that vandalism footage. If we can tie her to the spray paint, it's another felony. Evan handed over a USB drive. It's all there. Crystal clear. Friday morning, Evan woke to a new email from Monica, sent to the entire neighborhood, plus local media. The subject? Willow Creek, under attack by rogue neighbor. The email accused Evan of fabricating lies to destroy our community standards. She claimed to have evidence of his illegal activities, including a photo of his truck with a caption, "This man is a danger to our safety." The photo was doctored, showing fake oil spills under his truck. Evan forwarded it to Sarah. She's trying to flip the narrative, but she's just given us more ammunition. Sarah called an hour later. Judge Harper, we've got her bank records. Multiple transfers to Green Vista and direct deposits from Monica's PayPal to her personal account. We're moving to freeze her assets. And that email? It's defamation. We're adding it to the charges. Evan felt a weight lift. How soon can you act? Sarah's voice was firm. We're preparing an arrest warrant, but we need one more thing. A resident to testify about her threats. Someone she's targeted directly. Can Susan Carter do it? Evan called Susan. She hesitated, then agreed. I'm scared, Judge Harper. But I'll do it. For my kids. For everyone. Saturday evening, Evan sat with Susan, Tom, and Patricia at his ranch house. They reviewed their statements for the prosecutor. Susan handed over a new piece of evidence. A voicemail from Monica, left that morning. Susan, Monica's voice hissed. You're making a mistake, siding with Harper. I know people. I can make your life hell. Think about your bakery. The threat was clear and recorded. Evan saved the file. This is it. She's threatening a witness. That's obstruction of justice. I-43. Sunday morning, Evan arrived at the ranch to find a crowd. Not landscapers this time. Residents. About 20 of them, holding signs. No more fines, one read. End OA tyranny, another. Susan stood at the front, holding a megaphone. Judge Harper, she called. We're with you. Monica's gone too far. Evan stepped out, surprised. What's this about? Tom Miller spoke up. We heard about the prosecutor, the forged signatures, the vandalism. We're done living under her thumb. We're ready to testify. Patricia nodded. She threatened my grandson last week. Said his skateboard was vandalism. I'm done being scared. Evan looked at the crowd. Ordinary people, fed up with Monica's reign. Thank you, he said. This isn't just about my ranch. It's about all of us. Stick together, and she can't win. Monday morning, Sarah and Wynn called. Judge Harper, the warrant's issued. Monica's being arrested today. We've got enough for multiple felony counts. fraud, embezzlement, vandalism, witness intimidation. And with the racketeering charge, she's looking at serious time. Evan stood at his gate, staring at the wild grass. What about the HOA? Sarah's voice softened. The board's cooperating. They're considering dissolution. After this, no one trusts the system Monica built. Evan hung up, feeling the Texas sun on his face. Monica's empire was collapsing. But he knew her type. Desperate people made desperate moves. She'd try one last play. He checked his cameras, made sure the feeds were live. Whatever Monica had planned, he'd be ready. That afternoon, Deputy Ryan Foster pulled up to the ranch. Judge Harper, thought you'd want to know. We picked up Monica an hour ago. She was screaming about a conspiracy, claiming you framed her. But we've got her on tape. That vandalism footage? It's gold. Evan nodded. Thanks, Ryan. Keep me posted. As Ryan drove off, Evan's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You think you've won, Harper? This isn't over. No signature, but Evan knew. Monica was down, but not out. He saved the text. Another piece of evidence. His eyes scanned the horizon, the wildflowers swaying defiantly. Monica had underestimated him, and now she'd pay the price. Evan Harper leaned against his ranch gate, coffee mug steaming in the cool Texas dawn. The wild grass, still defiantly tall, swayed under a sky streaked with pink. Monica Reynolds was in custody, her empire of forged signatures, embezzled funds, and petty tyranny crumbling. The vandalism footage, the threatening voicemail to Susan Carter, the spreadsheet of fake findset was all in the hands of Sarah Nguyen, the county prosecutor. But that text from an unknown number, "This isn't over," lingered in Evan's mind. Monica was cornered, and cornered animals were dangerous. He checked his security cameras, feeds live, ready for whatever came next. Tuesday morning started with a call from Brandon Carter, Evan's legal assistant. Boss, you need to see this. Monica's lawyer just filed a motion to dismiss the charges. Claims the evidence is fabricated. And get this, she's accusing you of planting the vandalism footage. Says you doctored it to frame her. Evan's grip tightened on his mug. She's desperate, throwing everything at the wall. What's Sarah saying? Brandon's voice was steady. Sarah's not worried. The footage has metadata, timestamps, all clean. Plus, we've got the bank records, the forged signatures, and Susan's voicemail. Monica's motion is a Hail Mary. But there's something else. I heard from a contact at the courthouse. Monica's been reaching out to a private investigator. She's digging for dirt on you. Evan stared at his rusty truck, a symbol of Monica's obsession. Let her dig. I've spent 30 years on the bench. My record's clean. But we need to stay ahead. Can you trace that text from yesterday? Brandon hesitated. It's a burner number, but I'm working on it. If she sent it from jail, that's another charge. Obstruction, maybe witness tampering. Evan nodded. Keep me posted. And get me a meeting with the Willow Creek board. If they're dissolving the HOA, we need to make sure Monica's allies don't slip through the cracks. By noon, Evan sat with Susan Carter, Tom Miller, and Patricia at the community center. The HOA board, now led by a quiet accountant named Jennifer Walsh, looked shell-shocked. Jennifer spread out financial records. Judge Harper, we've uncovered more. Monica was charging special assessments for projects that never existed. A community fountain that was actually her backyard pool renovation. $12,000. Signed by Edith Ramsey's stamp. Susan's voice shook. She fined my bakery $300 for excessive signage. It was a chalkboard menu. I paid because she threatened to report me to the health department. How many others did this to? Tom slammed his fist on the table. She charged us $500 for lawn maintenance. We never got. Our grass was fine. She's been robbing us. Blind. Evan took notes. Jennifer, can you compile a full audit? Every fake fine, every forged signature. Sarah needs it for the racketeering charge. And if residents are willing to testify, it'll seal Monica's fate. Jennifer nodded, her hands trembling. I'll do it. But Monica's been calling board members from jail, telling us to stay loyal or face consequences. She's still trying to control us. Evan's eyes hardened. She's in custody. Her threats are empty. But record every call. It's more evidence. Wednesday brought a new escalation. Evan arrived at the ranch to find a news van parked across the road. A reporter, young, eager, approached with a microphone. Judge Harper, Channel 7 News. We're covering allegations of corruption in Willow Creek. Monica Reynolds claims you've orchestrated a smear campaign to seize control of the HOA. Care to comment? Evan kept his voice calm. No comment. Talk to the county prosecutor. She's got the facts. He walked to his gate, ignoring the camera, but the reporter's words gnawed at him. Monica was playing the victim, spinning lies to the media. He called Sarah. She's gone public, accusing me of framing her. This could get messy. Sarah's tone was grim. I saw the news. She's trying to taint the jury pool. But her lawyer's motion is weak. We've got a paper trail a mile long. And that voicemail to Susan? It's damning. I'm pushing for a gag order to stop her media stunts. Evan hung up, feeling the weight of Monica's desperation. She couldn't fight the evidence, so she was attacking his reputation. He checked his cameras again, paranoid now. If Monica had hired a private investigator, they might be watching. He called Brandon. Any luck on that burner text? Brandon sounded frustrated. Still tracing. But I found something else. Monica's cousin, Derek, the Green Vista owner? He's been emailing her lawyer, offering to testify that you threatened him to falsify invoices. It's a lie, but they're building a narrative. Evan paced his porch. Derek's covering his tracks. He's in on the fraud. Can we get his financials? Brandon chuckled. Already subpoenaed. Sarah's team is tearing through Green Vista's books. If Derek's lying, we'll catch him. Thursday morning, Evan woke to a new email sent to the neighborhood and local media. The subject? Judge Harper's conspiracy exposed. Monica's lawyer had attached a blurry photo, supposedly showing Evan near the HOA office at midnight. Tampering with records. The email claimed Evan had planted the forged documents to frame Monica. But the photo was laughable, grainy, the man's face obscured. And the timestamp? The 15th of January, when Evan was in Miami for a judicial conference with 500 witnesses. Evan forwarded it to Sarah. She's fabricating evidence. This photo's a fake. Sarah's response was swift. We're analyzing it. If it's doctored, it's another charge. Conspiracy to fabricate evidence. Monica's digging her own grave. And that afternoon, Susan Carter called, near tears. Judge Harper, Monica's investigator, came to my bakery. Asked my employees if I'd been coerced by you. They're trying to say you're bullying me into testifying. Evan's blood boiled. Susan, tell your staff to document everything. Names, dates, questions. This is witness intimidation. Sarah needs to know. Susan sniffled. I'm trying to be strong, but this is my livelihood. What if they shut me down? Evan softened his voice. They won't. Monica's out of moves. You're protected. I promise. Friday brought a breakthrough. Brandon burst into Evan's office, grinning. We got her. The burner text? Traced to a phone purchased at a gas station near the county jail. Security footage shows Monica's sister buying it 2 days ago. She smuggled it to Monica. That's how she's been coordinating from lockup. Evan's eyes lit up. That's felony tampering. Can we prove the text came from Monica? Brandon held up a printout. The phone's active. Sent another message this morning. Harper will pay. Same number. We've got her dead to rights. Evan leaned back, relief washing over him. Send it to Sarah? And the photo? The fake one? Brandon's grin widened. Metadata shows it was edited yesterday. The guy in the picture? Hired actor. Paid through Derek's Venmo. Memo says, photo job for MR. They're not even subtle. Sarah called an hour later. Judge Harper, this is gold. The smuggled phone, the fake photo, the investigator harassing Susan. We're adding charges, witness tampering, evidence fabrication, and obstruction. Monica's looking at a decade behind bars. And Derek? He's been served a subpoena. He's flipping, offering to testify against her to save himself. Evan felt the tide turning. What's next? Sarah's voice was confident. We're presenting to the grand jury next week. With Derek's testimony, the residents' statements, and your evidence, it's a slam dunk. But Monica's lawyer is pushing for bail. If she gets out, she might escalate. Evan's jaw tightened. She's already escalated. That investigator, the media, she's trying to burn everything down. Sarah agreed. I'm opposing bail. Her actions from jail show she's a flight risk. Stay vigilant, Judge. She's not done fighting. Saturday morning, Evan met with the Willow Creek residents at Susan's Bakery. A dozen showed up, each with stories of Monica's tyranny. A young couple, the Johnsons, shared a $600 fine for unauthorized Halloween decorations. An elderly man, Mr. Patel, described Monica threatening to report his grandson for riding a bike too fast. The anger was palpable, but so was the hope. Evan laid out the case. The prosecutor has everything: forged signatures, embezzlement, vandalism, threats. Monica's facing federal charges, but we need your testimonies. She can't scare you anymore. The Johnsons nodded. We're in. She made our kids cry over a pumpkin display. Enough is enough. Mr. Patel raised a shaky hand. I'll testify. She called my family disruptive. All because my grandson laughed too loud. I want her gone. Evan looked around the room. You're not just fighting for me. You're fighting for Willow Creek. For your homes, your peace. Sunday evening, Evan found a new note on his gate. You can't stop me, Harper. I have connections. The handwriting matched the last threat. He bagged it, checked the cameras. The footage showed a figure in a hoodie, 3 hours a.m., taping the note. No clear face, but the car in the background? Monica's sister's sedan. Evan sent the video to Sarah. She's using her family now. This has to end. Monday morning, Sarah called with big news. Judge Harper, the grand jury indicted Monica. 16 counts. Fraud, racketeering, vandalism, tampering, the works. Derek's testimony sealed it. He admitted Green Vista was a front. Monica paid him to fake invoices, mow your meadow, even vandalize your gate. We're moving to seize her assets. And her sister? Arrested for smuggling the phone. Evan stood at his ranch, the wildflowers glowing in the sun. What about bail? Sarah's voice was firm. Denied. She's a danger to the community. The judge cited her threats from jail. She's not going anywhere. Evan exhaled, the first real relief in weeks. Monica's last gambit: fake photos, smuggled phones, hired investigators had backfired. Her lies were unraveling, her allies turning. But Evan knew the war wasn't over. Monica's venom ran deep. He looked at his truck, still parked proudly by the gate. She thought she could break me, he said to the empty air. But she forgot who I am. Tuesday afternoon, Jennifer Walsh called from the HOA board. Judge Harper, we voted to dissolve the HOA. After Monica, no one trusts it. We're starting fresh. No more rulers, no more fines, just neighbors. Evan smiled, the first time in days. That's the right call, Jennifer. Let me know if you need help. As he hung up, his phone buzzed. Another email from Monica's lawyer, forwarded to the neighborhood. A last-ditch plea, claiming Monica was misunderstood and targeted by a vindictive judge. Attached was a deepfake video, Evan supposedly confessing to framing her. The audio was robotic, pieced together from old court recordings. Evan laughed, forwarded it to Sarah. She's out of tricks. Sarah's response was immediate. This is evidence tampering. Another charge. She's done. Evan walked to his meadow, the wild grass brushing his boots. Monica's reign was over. Her lies, her threats, her forged empire, all collapsing. But Evan stayed vigilant, cameras on, evidence ready. He'd fought too hard to let his guard down now. Evan Harper leaned against his ranch gate, coffee mug steaming in the Texas dawn. His wildflower meadow, untamed and defiant, glowed under a sky streaked with pink. Monica Reynolds was behind bars, indicted on 16 felony counts. Fraud, racketeering, vandalism, witness tampering, her empire of forged signatures, fake invoices, and smuggled phones had collapsed. The Willow Creek HOA was dissolved, its reign of petty fines and ruler-measured grass a memory. But Monica's last email, that absurd deep-fake video, lingered in Evan's mind. She'd fight to the end. He checked his cameras, feeds live, ready for her final move. Sarah Nguyen, the county prosecutor, called with an update. Judge Harper, the trial's about to start. Monica's lawyer is pushing an insanity plea, claiming HOA stress drove her actions. But with Derek's testimony, the resident statements, and that deepfake, she's got no defense. Evan set his mug down. She's desperate. What about her sister? The smuggled phone? Sarah's voice was sharp, pleading guilty to a misdemeanor. She's cooperating, gave us texts proving Monica orchestrated threats from jail. The deepfake was her idea, paid a college kid $500. We've got the Venmo receipt. Evan stared at his rusty truck, Monica's obsession. I want to be in court to see this through. Sarah paused. You're a victim, Judge. Your presence will hit hard. Bring Susan, Tom, Patricia. The jury needs to see who Monica hurt. The courthouse in Austin was packed, reporters swarming the steps. Evan walked past, ignoring their questions. Inside, the courtroom buzzed with tension. Susan Carter, Tom Miller, Patricia, and a dozen Willow Creek residents filled the gallery. Monica sat at the defendant's table, designer suit pristine, but her face hollow, eyes darting. Her lawyer, nervous in a cheap tie, shuffled papers. Sarah stood, addressing the jury. Monica Reynolds built a criminal enterprise disguised as an HOA. She forged signatures, embezzled over $200,000, vandalized property, and threatened anyone who resisted. When Judge Evan Harper challenged her, she tried to destroy him with lies, fake evidence, and intimidation. You'll see the truth. The trial unfolded like a slow unraveling. Sarah played the vandalism footage, Monica's BMW idling, as her thug spray-painted Evan's gate. The jury gasped at Susan's voicemail, Monica's voice hissing, I can make your life hell. Derek, Monica's cousin, took the stand, head bowed. She paid me to fake invoices, mow Judge Harper's meadow, break his fence once. Said it was to teach him a lesson. I kept emails, records, everything. Monica's lawyer tried to spin it. My client was overwhelmed, a leader pushed too far by a rebellious neighbor. But the deepfake video, robotic and absurd, drew snickers. Sarah struck hard. This was calculated. Miss Reynolds spent thousands to frame a federal judge, all because his grass was too tall. Susan testified, voice steady despite trembling hands. Monica fined my bakery for a chalkboard menu, threatened to shut me down. When I supported Judge Harper, she sent an investigator to harass my staff. I was terrified, but I'm here because she can't control us anymore. Tom followed, anger raw. She fined my kids for chalk drawings, smashed my mailbox when I complained, made us feel like criminals in our home. Patricia, tears in her eyes, recounted the gnome fine, slashed tires. She called my grandson a vandal for skating in our driveway. She broke us until Judge Harper fought back. Evan took the stand last, voice calm, measured. I wanted to live on my ranch, grow wildflowers, park my truck. But Monica saw that as a threat. She called the police, sent trespassers, vandalized my gate. When I fought back, she fabricated evidence to ruin my career. This isn't about grass. It's about power and abuse. Monica's lawyer cross-examined, voice smug. Judge Harper, didn't you resent the HOA standards? Orchestrate this to dismantle their authority? Evan met his gaze. My ranch isn't under HOA jurisdiction. Miss Reynolds forged documents, stole money, threatened neighbors. The evidence speaks. The jury's faces showed disgust, disbelief. Monica slumped, whispering to her lawyer. The damage was done. Closing arguments were brutal. Sarah laid out the evidence. Fraud, threats, lies. Monica didn't just break the law. She broke a community. She used fear to control, greed to enrich herself. Hold her accountable. Monica's lawyer pleaded, voice weak. My client made mistakes, but she's no mastermind. She cared too much for Willow Creek. The jury wasn't convinced. Deliberation took 3 hours. The foreman stood, voice clear. We find the defendant, Monica Reynolds, guilty on all counts. The courtroom erupted, residents hugging, some crying. Monica stared ahead, face blank, as the judge listed convictions: wire fraud, racketeering, vandalism, evidence tampering, witness intimidation. Sentencing was set for later, but her fate was sealed. Outside, residents swarmed Evan. Susan grabbed his hand. "Thank you, Judge Harper. You gave us our lives back." Tom clapped his shoulder. "My kids can draw chalk art now. No fear." Patricia hugged him, tears streaming. "You stood up when we couldn't. You're our hero." Evan shook his head. "You all stood up. Your courage, your testimonies, that's what won." Evan stood at his ranch, painting his gate. Not because anyone forced him, but because it felt right. A fresh coat of black, rust peeking through, a badge of resilience. Deputy Ryan Foster pulled up, six-pack in hand. "Heard you're celebrating," he grinned. "You earned this." They sat on Evan's porch, wildflowers dancing in the breeze. Ryan raised a bottle. "Monica called me 50 times over the years. Grass too long, flowers too pink, kids too loud. Drove me nuts. Now, I patrol a neighborhood where people wave. Thanks to you." Evan clinked his bottle. "Thanks to all of us." A letter arrived, official letterhead from the Federal Judicial Committee. An offer to join a task force on community dispute resolution, turning Evan's ordeal into a chance to help others. He chuckled, reading it again. Months ago, Monica had called the cops over his grass. Now, she faced prison, her HOA gone, and Evan was shaping neighborhood justice. Sarah called with final news. "Judge Harper, sentencing set. Monica's looking at 8 to 12 years, plus restitution to residents. Her house is being seized to cover it. She and her family will be evicted soon." Evan stood in his meadow, grass brushing his boots. "Evicted, for trespass. Poetic." Sarah laughed. "Couldn't script it better." Derek's pleading guilty, testifying against Green Vista subcontractors. The whole network's down. Evan felt the Texas breeze. Monica's reign started with a ruler, ended in handcuffs. Her McMansion, once a symbol of control, would soon be empty. Willow Creek was free. Kids drawing chalk art. No rulers in sight. Evan hosted a gathering at his ranch. Susan brought pies, Tom grilled burgers, Patricia's grandson skated in the driveway. No fines. Jennifer Walsh raised a glass. To Judge Harper, and new beginnings. The crowd cheered, echoing across the fields. Evan stood back, watching. His truck, rusty, sat proudly by the gate. His meadow, wild, glowed under the stars. He thought of Monica, in her cell, her obsession, her undoing. She'd seen his ranch as a threat, his grass as defiance. But it was never about grass. It was about freedom, community, standing firm. A reporter from Channel 7 called, seeking a follow-up. "Judge Harper, Monica claims she was unfairly targeted. Comment?" Evan smiled, voice steady. "The jury saw the evidence. Justice was served. That's all." He walked to his barn, tools in hand. Repairs, stalled by Monica's crusade, could finally begin. His phone buzzed, a text from Susan. "Kids drawing chalk art on my street. Made me cry. Thank you, Evan." He typed back, "Thank you, Susan, for being brave." A package arrived, a small box, no return address. Inside, a ruler, engraved with Monica's initials. A note, "You won't need this, Harper." Unsigned, but Evan knew. Her last jab, petty to the end. He laughed, tossed it in a drawer. Maybe for a museum someday, a relic of Willow Creek's dark days. Evan sat on his porch, wildflowers glowing in the twilight. His gate, freshly painted, stood open. Neighbors waved as they drove by, unafraid. The HOA sign was gone, replaced by a community garden, Susan's idea. Evan raised his mug to the stars, a toast to justice, resilience, the wild grass that started it all. He thought of his father, a judge before him, who'd said, "The system bends toward justice if you fight." Evan had fought, not just for his ranch, but for every neighbor Monica crushed. They'd won. Monica, once Willow Creek's queen, was a cautionary tale. Her ruler, her fines, her threats, powerless against truth. Evan walked to his meadow, grass tickling his hands. He'd keep it wild, always. Not to defy Monica, but because it was his sanctuary, his home. And somewhere, in a cold cell, Monica was learning, you can't control a man who knows his worth or a community that stands together. Hey there, listeners. Wow, what a ride. Thank you for sticking with us through Evan's epic takedown of Monica's HOA tyranny. Your support keeps these stories alive. If you love this saga, drop a like. It means the world. And tell me in the comments, what's the wildest HOA rule you've ever heard of? Share your tales. We'll catch you next time for more stories of justice and neighbors fighting back. Until then, keep your grass wild and stay awesome.